Hey there, everybody. This is Shaman Hawk here for Shamanic Lodge. Still over here at Hawkins Forest Haven in Red Boiling Springs, Tennessee. Today I was going to talk real quick about sweat lodges. There's this one thing that's going around for a while for the United States and even in Eastern Europe. The Lakota style sweat lodge. The big difference between what they do and what I do is I don't require women to have long, uncomfortable dresses on in a very hot lodge. I don't do much singing and yah hey hey stuff. And I have absolutely no problem with women being in the lodge on their period or their menstrual cycle, which happens to be a big no-no in some of the Native American styles, especially on the Southwest tribes. Yeah, the energy is a little bit different, you know, if a woman in there is on her period, but this whole thing about not allowing a woman in, not even allowing a woman on the ceremonial site, I just can't get that. That seems real misogynistic. It almost feels like you're punishing the gender that gives life for the process that gives life. So I just don't see the sense in it myself. Now, I'm not knocking that style. You know, I've been to a few of those style lodges, and yeah, they got their great points to them. They're hot. Some people love the singing and the drumming and things like that. It's a very traditional way. Now, I'm not saying that they're this way, but sometimes tradition is a synonym for dogma. And shamanism has always been that spearhead of human or spiritual evolution. And I think sometimes we have to grow out of tradition so we can learn, because those boundaries of tradition can be confining. So I do different types of sweat lodges. I really kind of listen to the land. I listen to the people. You know, I do sweat lodges over several countries. You know, in the last 3 years, I've been in and out of mostly Eastern Europe and Germany. Mostly through, on the United States side, the east side of the Mississippi. And there were big differences between what the tribes did on the east side and the west side of the United States. But still, I don't think there's any way that's the way, the right way to do the sweat lodge other than a safe way. You know, beginning sweat lodges for people who've never experienced them before should be a welcoming experience, encouraging them to come back and continue going through the process. So, in answer to people's questions, no, I absolutely have no problem with women, you know, being in there on their period. I don't require them to be wearing long dresses. It's hard enough to scoot around on your hands and knees inside of a sweat lodge, filling up in a circle. And I just couldn't imagine doing that in a long dress, you know, or requiring somebody to. Preferably, if I look at a sweat lodge like a womb and you're going in there for a rebirth, you know, why wear any clothes at all? But I go with the most conservative person in the group and what they're comfortable with, and I dress accordingly, you know. Like I said, it shouldn't be an uncomfortable experience. It should be a pushing experience. The difference being, it's okay to take people where they don't want to go, but it's not good to take people where they can't go. And sometimes pushing issues with them is just, it's not a productive way for their spiritual or personal growth. The thing that I do require, or that I'm a little bit particular about, is people's general health. You know, if you have high blood pressure, you're on high blood pressure medicine, you're, you know, obese, and you know if you are or not. If you can't walk a quarter of a mile uphill, you probably should not be in a sweat lodge. And it's a reality check. It's a safety check, you know, and you really should be about health first, safety first when you're doing these kinds of activities, because it can get very hot in a sweat lodge. Energetically, there's a classes that I teach about the geomancy, which lodges and the directions that they are, but no one has the best way. most traditional system, because at one point, when sweat lodges first started, there was somebody with an idea, and they said, hey, I'm going to do this. Where was the tradition then? Okay? And that's where we should go back to. You know, there are some simple rules that I'm sure the first people did sweat lodges, they learned probably the hard way. And going through responsible training, efficient and authentic training is a good idea before you run a sweat lodge. And I do that with people. And speaking of which, you know, Oshi and I are looking for somebody to host on their land sweat lodges in Germany. You know, when we go back in June, and also in around the Cluj-Napoca area of Romania. So all that being said, you know, you can write me on shamaniclodge@gmail.com. I'm not on Facebook that much, you know. I try to answer people's emails as much as possible. If you have any questions, you know, things like that, you know, drop a line, send an email. Until then, I wish you all the best. Peace, love, white light.